All right, so carrying on. The Bible says Hagar then despised her mistress Sarah. You can read this in Genesis 16:4. Sarah was a beautiful black woman. Like, I don't like to call our people black, but for teaching purposes, that's how I refer to us. But Sarah was very beautiful. She had long, beautiful hair, like long hair. No weaves, no extensions. It was all hers. She was very beautiful. And so Hagar became proud and thought she was better than Sarah. When Sarah was 90 years old, she conceived and bare a son named Isaac, who was the child promised by God. Sarah nagged Abraham until he cast out the bondwoman and her son. Sarah wanted Isaac to be their heir, and this thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son Ishmael. Hagar left with Ishmael, but God told Abraham that his son will become a great nation because he is thy seed. You can read that in Genesis 21:13. So that is why, Arabs have become like so great, because they from Abraham's seed, so but that's the only thing that ties them. They were not, they were not the child promised by God. That belongs to Isaac, and that is who our lineage, Negroes, natives, and Latinos, that's who we come from, Isaac. But the Arabs, they come from Ishmael, and Ishmael was dark. Like I said, Ishmael was black, like Abraham and Hagar. Hagar was Egyptian, and we all know the Egyptians was black. So, but yeah. So, in the desert without water, God heard the voice of the lad and sent an angel who told Hagar that Ishmael would become a great nation. She picked up the lad and saw a well of water, which saved their lives. The Bible says, and God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness. And that you could read that in Genesis 21:20. And then I've also shared in the past too, I've shared pictures like of original Arabs on one of my pages under the We Are Israel section. You can go see this. I've already shared this. So this is, kind of the lesson behind those pictures. Like I said, the Arabs were originally black until Alexander the Fool came in. Today, the offspring of Ishmael total almost 1 billion souls. In the 4th century, multitudes in the rural areas heard about the holy man in Rome who replaced the Caesars. He had a strange army of priests, monks, and nuns who fasted, prayed, and helped the Pope. The people looked at the religious followers of this man, the Pope, with fear and great respect. In Algeria, North Africa, in AD 354, a devout Roman Catholic mother gave birth to a son. His name was Augustine. Augustine was a genius and eventually became a saint in the Roman Catholic religion. He was the bishop of Roman Africa. This faithful Roman Catholic leader is called Church Father. Augustine wrote 2 famous works, The Church of God and Confessions, which unknowingly to the Arab world have greatly affected their lives for centuries. Augustine was busy winning Arabs to Roman Catholicism, including whole tribes, but multitudes of Arabs hated Catholicism and would not convert. In time, spies were sent to those remote nomads who rejected Catholicism and spread the word that one day a great leader would appear who would gather the Arabs together. In parentheses, sound familiar? Remember, Satan wants to be like the Most High. And so, when it's talking about here, just before I go on, when it's talking about it gave the names of his work, the Church of God and Confessions, which unknowingly to the Arab world have greatly affected their lives for centuries. This be proven that a lot of the Arabs, especially these younger ones, they don't know their own damn history. They don't. A lot of them, when I'm reading, they'll try to, be all mad and stuff like that. But these are facts. You can Google this stuff, and you can do your own research. Just happens to be what I'm into, and I'm sharing it. But you can do your own research, but a lot of people don't. Just like a lot of our younger generation, they don't care about their history. They don't care about where they come from. But then when these atrocities happen, they get upset. But it's like, maybe if you started paying attention to your own history, maybe if you learned who you are, outside of your sexuality, maybe if you, learned who you are, like gave a damn about who you are, where you come from, regardless of your sexuality, maybe, things would be a little bit better. I'll tell you this, like I said before I go on, when these people be like, saying, oh, black people sold black people, I'm proud that I can like debunk them, like, and not just call them a bunch of names. No, sir. No, this is what happened. Native Africans sold Hebrew Negroes. We are not the same bloodline. That's just like saying Americans sold Americans. Well, you would be like, well, which Americans sold which Americans? Because you have white Americans, you got Negro Americans, you have Native Americans, you have Asian Americans, you have Irish Americans. I mean, who was sold? So it's like a play on words. But anyway, 200 years after Augustine, around AD 570, Muhammad was born in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, heart of the Islamic religion. This man would change the course of world history. Muhammad called himself the messenger of God. He established the great religion of Islam. In less than 20 years after his death, his armies defeated the Byzantine and Persian empires, and later his army swept into Europe. The Prophet Muhammad was an amazing man. Yeah, right. First, I'd like to show you the Islamic religions as the world sees it. Then I'll share what I learned in the Vatican, how Islam actually came into existence. You'll be shocked. What I'm going to tell you is the most incredible story of intrigue you will ever hear. This is how the world sees the great religion of Islam, founded by the Prophet Muhammad, which now has over 1 billion followers. Islam claims that Abraham and Ishmael built the house of God beside the well Zamzam, which saved the life of Ishmael and his mother Hagar. Before I go on, that's false. That's false. That's false. Their most sacred city is called Mecca, and it's found in Saudi Arabia. It is also the birthplace of their prophet Muhammad. The original house of God was small compared to the newer 50 feet cube like stone structure, parentheses, idol worship, which replaced it. It is called the Kaaba stone, the house of God. And I'm going to speak about this stone in a little bit, but it's that black cube stone that they have over in Mecca. And I'm gonna speak about it in a little bit. I'm gonna continue on here. Faithful Muslims worldwide pray 5 times a day in the direction of this holy place, praying directly to their God, Allah, without intermediary. In Mecca, the faithful Muslims circle the Kaaba, shedding tears, seeking blessings and mercy, yearning for Allah, who is a female deity, in parentheses, company in paradise. 3 major religions have one thing in common. Each has a holy place where they look to for guidance. Roman Catholics look to the Vatican as the holy city. The Jewish imposters, in parentheses, look to the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem as their holy place. And by the way, that Wailing Wall has no significance. It's no significance. And when they be standing there doing that shit at the wall, that's not scriptural. That's in their Kabbalah book. That's some other stuff that's not even biblical. And so that's what they really believe in. Those Jewish people, they believe in the Kabbalah. And the Muslims look to Mecca as their holy city. Each group believes that they receive certain types of blessings for the rest of their lives for visiting their holy place. There arose a man in Mecca who was respected by the Quraysh, a powerful tribe of Arabs descended from Ishmael. Even though he was of the tribe of Hashim, his name was Abd al-Muttalib, and he was the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad. Abd al-Muttalib was given visions telling him where to find the well. A spirit told him to look for blood, dung, and an ant's nest, and pecking birds. He found the clues between two idols where the Quraysh performed their sacrifices. He dug and found the well and its treasures and became the hero of Mecca. Abd al-Muttalib prayed to his God. If this God would bless him with 10 sons, he would sacrifice one of them to him at the Kaaba. Over the years, his prayers were answered. His youngest son was his favorite, a handsome youth by the name of Abd Allah. It was time to keep his vow to his God. One of his sons must die. They had a ceremony in the Kaaba, and Lot fell upon his youngest son. The mother of Abd Allah, Abd al-Muttalib's son, along with others, opposed him. His sons begged him to let their brother live. And it's just like they trying to do the whole where Abraham was told by God, to sacrifice Isaac, but at the last minute God stopped him because it was a test for Abraham. That's what they trying to do with that, but it's more gruesome, it's more demonic because, like I said, Satan wants to be just like the Most High. So he do stuff too, but he needs a sacrifice, and he not gonna stop you. He gonna let you go ahead and do it because he want that blood. He needs a blood sacrifice. It was the Roman Catholic Arabs who were pushing the concept of looking for an Arab prophet, just as the Hebrew were looking for their Messiah, in parentheses, who had come and went to heaven. Who but a prophet would be capable of ridding the Arabs of their worship of false gods? There was even an icon of the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus, idols, in the Kaaba. Abd Allah married Amina in AD 569. He had to leave with a caravan to do some trading. He became ill and died. Amina was carrying his baby. Tradition teaches that she heard a voice say to her, "Thou carriest in thy womb the Lord of this people. And when he is born, say, I place him beneath the protection of the one from the evil of every envier. Then name him Muhammad." In parentheses, sound familiar? That damn Satan tries to mimic everything God does. In parentheses. When the child was born, his grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib, carried little Muhammad to the Kaaba and prayed a prayer of thanksgiving to Allah for his gift. More like trash. Muhammad's mother, Amina, died when he was 6 years old, leaving him an orphan. Then his grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib, cared for him, but 2 years later his grandfather died. These were the two greatest sorrows in his life. When Muhammad was 9, he was with his uncle on a caravan. A Roman Catholic monk saw the boy and questioned him. Then he asked to see the mark on his back. He exclaimed, "It is the seal of prophethood." He warned Muhammad's uncle, "Take thy brother's son back to his country and guard him against the Jewish impostors. For by God, if they see him and know of him that which I know, they will construe evil against him. Great things are in store for this brother son of thine." The Roman Catholic monk had fanned the flames for future Jewish, in parentheses, impostors, in parentheses, persecutions at the hands of the followers of Muhammad. Muhammad was 25 years old when he married a wealthy widow named Khadijah. She was about 40 at the time. Muhammad and Khadijah had 2 sons who died young and 4 daughters. The most famous was Fatima, who married Muhammad's successor, his cousin Ali, as recognized by Shia branch of Islam. About AD 610, Muhammad claimed he had a vision from Allah of a majestic being whom he called the angel Gabriel, who said, "You are the messenger of Allah." This began Muhammad's career as the prophet of Allah. From this time on, Muhammad continued to receive messages which he claimed came from Allah until his death, with the help of his wife's cousin, Rawakwa. I'm sorry. The Prophet Muhammad was able to interpret these messages. Rawakwa said, "Verily, Muhammad is the prophet of this people. Some of his revelations were placed in the Quran in AD 650. Other writings of Muhammad were never published. Muhammad became so powerful, the tribes became Muslims just for his protection. He died in AD 632, having 9 wives and 1 Roman Catholic concubine. The body of the Prophet Muhammad is entombed today in the Mosque of Medina, where yearly pilgrims go to pray. Note, he did not arise from the dead. Only Yeshaya, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, did that. End note. Now that we know how the world sees Muhammad in the story of Islam, this is what I learned in the Vatican. I learned about the cloak and dagger world religion and what went on behind the scenes to build the Islamic faith. The Vatican desperately wanted Jerusalem because of its religious significance, but was blocked by the Jewish imposters. And I keep calling these the Jewish people imposters because they are imposters. They are not the people who went into Egypt. And you've seen that whole Prince of Egypt movie and stuff like that. Even in the 10 Commandments. Okay, that old movie, the 10 Commandments movie with Charlton Heston, the white dude who they had play Moses. Well, they left out a scene. Where they left out where God told Moses to put his hand in his jacket, and when he took his hand out, it was white as snow. But then he put his hand back into his jacket and put it back out. It was the same color. They left that out of the original 10 Commandments movie because, I mean, the actor was white. I mean, come on. He pulled his hand out, it's going to be white. He put it back in, it's going to be white. I mean, that ain't no miracle. So, but if you a black person like me, if I was to put my hand in a jacket and then I pull it out and it's white, yeah, I'm going to be shocked. Like, what the hell is going on? You know, and then put it back and then this is the original color. That's a miracle, you know. And so that's what biblical leprosy was too. When all your color, they call it vitiligo today. Vitiligo is biblical leprosy. And so, but yeah, those people, they're not the original people. The people that wear the black with the curls by their ear, they come from a place called Khazaria, Georgia. It's an area right outside of Russia. They come from places like Germany, Russia, Poland. They have no relation. In fact, how they even got that whole state of Israel was a scam. You can look up information called the Balfour Declaration. And I believe that was in prior to 1948. And so you can look that information up. And that was a agreement, I believe, that Britain and I believe America made in order for them to get that little stretch of land. And so I already told you with the president of Egypt, the Arabs, because by that time the original Egyptians was moved into like Sudan. They was, you know, they're the tall, dark-skinned Egyptians, like that's portrayed on the tombs and stuff like that. Them people was taken out of that land and moved into Sudan. And so the Arabs came in. That's why you see all these damn Arabs over there now. And they don't give a damn They don't give a damn about the history. They don't give a damn about them pyramids. They don't care about our culture. They're just there. They're just there to block us from getting there. That's why they're there. They don't give a damn about them pyramids over there. And they see them pyramids just like you would go over there and see them pyramids and see them people was black on the pyramids. But they don't care. Just like how they be having the Arabs be having their stores and stuff like that. When you see them in New York and stuff like that with they carts trying to sell stuff, they do that all outside the pyramids. They don't care about the history of our people, and they don't care about the history of Egypt because they know that is not their. They know that that's not their history. They know. They'll sit up and be like, "Oh yeah, this is ours. We're Egyptian," but their scholars, their elders, their older people, they know they know the story. They know the real story, just like our people, our elders, our scholars. Sad to say, it's not really a lot of young people because a lot of our younger generations just don't care about their history. This is why shit is so messed up because, believe it or not, something so small to you is something gigantic to the Most High. We sit up, we don't really care about our history, but that's a slap in the face to the Most High. So, but yeah, that's why I keep calling them imposters, because they are imposters. Even the Sephardic Jews, you can read in 2 Kings 17, there's a word in there, it's called Sepharim or something like that. That's speaking of the Sephardic Jews. They were placed into the land. They are not and the Sephardic Jews make up like 2% of that imposter BS. They are not the original people either. They don't belong there either. And if you read in 2 Kings 17, when they got placed into the land, the Most High actually sent lions to attack them because they didn't know the ways of the land. They didn't know how to till the soil. They didn't know how to take care of the land, and they didn't care. They was also practicing black magic, which is Kabbalism, because that's what they believe in their book, the Talmud. That's what it's called. It's called the Talmud. I think I said it's called the Kabbalah. That's the name of their religion, but the name of the book is called the Talmud, and it has horrible things in there. I believe in one of the Gittans, I believe it's Gittan something B, but it talks about how Christ is in hell in a pot of cum, in a pot of nut boiling. Yeah, they don't even believe in Christ, these Jewish people. So that is why I call them imposters, because they are imposters. I'm just going on. Another problem was the true Christians, in parentheses, aka the 12 tribes of Israel in Northwest Africa, in parentheses, in North Africa, preaching the gospel. Parentheses, no, remember the true Hebrew migrated to Northwest Africa in AD 70, in parentheses. Somehow the Vatican, parentheses, Satan, in parentheses, had to create a weapon to eliminate both the Jewish imposters and the true Christian Hebrews, believers who refused to accept Roman Catholicism. So that's what this was all about. People was not looking to convert to Christianity, Roman Catholicism. Carrying on, looking to North Africa, they saw multitudes of Arabs as a source of manpower to do their dirty work. A number of Arabs had become Roman Catholic and could be used in reporting information to their leaders in Rome. Others could be used as a fifth column, an underground spy network to carry out Rome's master plan to control the great multitudes of Arabs who had completely rejected Roman Catholicism. When St. Augustine appeared on the scene, he knew what was going on. Augustine was a very powerful and influential man with his own small army of followers. His monasteries served as basis to seek out and destroy Bible manuscripts owned by the true Christians. in parentheses, the real Hebrew Israelites, the Negroes, the natives, the Latinos, in parentheses. Augustine was made a saint for faithfully serving his mother church, parentheses, damn Catholics, in parentheses. The Vatican, Satan, wanted to create a Messiah for the Arabs, someone they could raise up as a great leader, a man with charisma who they could train and eventually unite all the non-Catholic Arabs behind him, creating a mighty army that would ultimately capture Jerusalem for the Pope. In the Vatican briefing, Cardinal B told us this story. Excuse me. A wealthy Arabian lady who was a faithful follower of the Pope played a tremendous part in this drama. She was a widow named Khadijah. She had given her wealth to Mother Church and retired to a convent. While there, she was given a strange assignment and was sent back into the world. Khadijah had a cousin named Waraqwa, who, like herself, was a very faithful Roman Catholic. He had tremendous influence on Muhammad. The Vatican, Satan, had him placed in the critical spot as Muhammad's advisor. Her, Khadijah's, job was to find a brilliant young man who could be used to create a new religion and become the Messiah for the children of Ishmael. Rome had found their man, and money was no object. Teachers were sent to young Muhammad, and he underwent intensive training. Under orders from the Vatican, Satan, Roman Catholic Arabs across North Africa began spreading the story of a great one who was about to rise up among the people and be the chosen one of God. Parentheses. Remember, this is all after Christ died on a cross. In parentheses. While Muhammad was being groomed, he was told that his enemies were the Jews. He was also told that the Roman Catholics were the only true Christians, and that the others, in parentheses, the true Hebrew Israelites, in parentheses, calling themselves Christians, were actually wicked imposters and children of the devil who should be destroyed. And eventually out of all this came forth the holy book of Islam called the Quran, which contains much of Muhammad's writing. Interestingly, from an early stage, Muslims received protection from the Catholic kings because of Muhammad's revelation concerning the Virgin Mary idol worship. But there still remain unpublished works of Muhammad, and they are now in the hands of high-ranking holy men, ayatollahs, in the Islam faith. When Cardinal B shared this with us in the Vatican, he said, these writings are guarded because they contain information that links the Vatican to the creation of Islam, daughter of Satan. Both sides have so much information on each other that if exposed, it would create such a scandal that it would cause a major disaster for both religions. By the time Muhammad died, the religion of Islam was exploding. The nomadic Arab tribes were joining forces in the name of Allah and his prophet Muhammad. In their holy book, the Quran, Jesus is regarded as only a prophet. If the Pope was his representative on earth, then he also must be a prophet of God. Blasphemy, in parentheses. Which caused the followers of Muhammad to fear and respect the Pope as another holy man. The Pope moved quickly and issued bulls granting the Arabs general permission to invade and conquer the nations of North Africa. Side note. The true Hebrew Israelites were in Northwest Africa. This will be the Arabs' turn having our people as slaves. The Arabs shipped our people back to Saudi Arabia. Those of our ancestors that escaped the Arabs' captivity migrated further down into Africa, still fighting with the original inhabitants of the land, Ham, or Africa. So the original inhabitants of Africa who came from Noah's son, Ham, those are your Libyans. Those were the Egyptians. Those were the Ethiopians or Cush. and also the Canaanites as well, um, who eventually traded our whereabouts to European white men for guns and ammo. The Arab captivity was pre-Caucasian slavery. Those that escaped further down into Africa would possibly be captured and put through slavery in America by the Europeans, or white men I like to call them, because they're not the original Europeans either. Some of our ancestors did escape both captivities, which is why remnants of Israelites are still in Africa today. These are people like your Ghanaians, I believe that's what they call them, people from Ghana, people from Liberia, Nigeria, people from the Congo, all the like northwest, the Gold Coast, like that. If you're looking at a map, it's like that left side, which is the west side of Africa. All of that is our people. That's where we migrated into. We started in Israel. We ran down into Africa because we were being chased by Arabs, by the original people of the land, which was who I just told you was the Libyans, the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and the Canaanites, and then white people, Esau, who was the Romans, I guess. But some of our ancestors, they did escape, and so that's why you have those people in Africa today. The tribe of Levi has not only been identified as Haiti, but in Africa as well. So Levi's, the tribe of Levi, who was the priest, they would be modern day Haitians. You can find a lot of their people over in Haiti. They use the whole voodoo. Voodoo comes from, voodoo used to be the magic that they would use to sacrifice the sacrifices to God. Well, after Christ came, there was no more room for sacrifices. We don't have to sacrifice anything, so it automatically became evil because we don't have to do that anymore, but a lot of people did use it for protection. That's how, Haiti defeated France, for instance. So according to the history of Edom and Khazaria, the other Israel, Levi used to be called Ashanti. Gold Coast Negroes are termed Coromantes or Coromantans in the jargon of the slave traders. Korah in the Ashanti language tongue means sons of God. The legacy of Arab Islam in Africa by John Alambelia Azuma is about the Arabs coming into Africa and capturing Negroes, in parentheses, Hebrew Israelites, true children of Israel, in parentheses, and selling them into slavery in Arabia, in which Muhammad supported. Psalms 83, verse 3 through 4, verse 6 through 12 mentions all the slave traders in the 1600s, describes what they did to us when we lived on the western coast of Africa. They committed a conspiracy, parentheses, for all you conspiracy factualist haters, in parentheses, this will be the biggest conspiracy ever. Hence, it's still happening as you are reading this. But Judah is waking up. We fought against the Cushites, who are the Ethiopians, the Ishmaelites, who are the Arabs, the Mizrahim, who are the Egyptians, the Hamites, who are the Africans in general, and the Canaanites, who I believe are the South Africans. The whole time we were in Africa during that 1,000-year period before we were sold to the white man by Arabs and authentic Africans, sons of Ham. Now back to Dr. Alberto Rivera's story, The Prophet.